Hello everyone, Ron here from L.T.L Tutoring Central, and this week I'm talking about yes you can. Well, I guess I'm always talking about yes you can, but this week I'm talking specifically about students who often say that they're stupid and that's why they're here. That's why they're in tutoring. Well, that's not true. Students who are straight A students also come to tutoring. Students who are doing very well, maybe not straight A, but quite well, are getting some tutoring. And of course, students who are failing or students who are struggling also get tutoring. Tutoring is not just for struggling students or students who have academic challenges. A tutor is like an educational coach. And that's what I often do, is use an analogy with sports, because a lot of kids, a lot of people are into sports, really love sports and play sports. And I always tell them, do you know any professional players? And do they fire their coach as soon as they get to be better, as soon as they get to be good? Maybe they're the top of their game. They still have a coach. They still have some coaching. And a tutor is just an educational coach. So it doesn't mean that you're doing poorly in school. It doesn't mean that you're struggling academically. It doesn't mean you're even weak in a particular subject. It might mean that you're having problems, but going to a tutor is just a way of helping yourself. It's a very smart thing to do. So if you're coming to a tutor, or if you're going to a tutor, you're definitely not stupid, because you're doing something about it. Maybe your parents are forcing you to do something about it, but nevertheless, most of my students start taking it on themselves. After a little while, they start to see that I really have a lot of faith in them, and they begin to have some faith in themselves. It's not always easy, it's not always constant or consistent, but I do see a lot of change in students who really are struggling at school, or they're having some issues with their self-image, the way they look at themselves. If you're saying I'm stupid, it's usually because either other people have been telling you that, or sometimes you want pity points, you want a pity party, because, a lot of people say, oh, you're not stupid, sweetie. Well, unfortunately, I don't do that. I will tell you you're not stupid, and I'll show you why you aren't. Usually I have evidence if you've been with me for a while. And I can show you the kind of improvements you've made, and I can show you what you can do that you couldn't do before. But you can even think about that yourself. Think about where you are now and go back a few grades and see what you couldn't do 3 years ago. You'll find out that you're a lot smarter today than you were then, even if you're behind, even if you're well behind. If you've been trying, you're still smarter now than you were then. If you get the correct coaching and the correct help, or you start to help yourself even, you can go even further. And that's the yes you can. Do not let anyone tell you that because you can't read now, you will never be able to read. Or because you can't spell now, you will never be able to spell. Or you can't write now, so you'll always have to have a scribe. If you always have a scribe, you won't learn to write. This is true, because you're not practicing. You're not doing anything about it. You might need a scribe for tests. You might need a scribe for certain activities for the moment, but you still need to practice writing. You still need to get better because you can. If you have someone reading to you right now because your reading is too slow or it's too difficult for you to keep up, that's fine. That's a tool you can use for now, but you also need to set aside time to practice your reading. I don't want you to give up on reading. And yes, people can learn to read much later in life than was originally thought. A lot of people used to think there was a certain window, and once that window closed, that was it. It is not true. It may be more difficult, more challenging, but I've seen much older students learn to read or learn to improve their reading considerably when they're motivated, focused, and have the correct coaching. So never give up and just say, well, I can't do it now, so I'll never be able to do it. I was talking to some students the other day, and I said, when you first learned to ride a bike, did you just jump on and ride? Well, no, of course not. No, of course. You fall off a few times. You might even get scraped up a little bit. You forget to brake or how to brake. Your hands don't go where your legs are going. It's very wobbly in the beginning. Do you just throw it to the side and say, well, you know what? I can't ride a bike, so now you ride the bike for me. So whenever I want to go somewhere, you ride the bike. That's crazy. Of course not. You keep trying until you get better, and you try and you try and you try. And for some, it doesn't take long. For others, it takes quite a long time. It takes a while to get all that coordinated. But you don't just say, okay, someone else has to ride the bike for me. That doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense with reading and writing and mathematics either. You can learn. Are you going to be the straight A student? Maybe not. Are you going to be the top of the class? Maybe not. That's not really that important. What is important is that you try, because if you try, you will learn and you will improve, and you will stretch your own elastic. We all have a certain elastic, and we can stretch it, and we can grow to our top level. And our top level might never reach the top of the class or the straight A. But at least we've done everything we can do for ourselves, and we don't know how far we can go unless we try and keep trying. You don't just give up easily. It takes years sometimes to master a skill. It takes years sometimes to even move up to the next level. So what? For some it's quick, for some it's slow. But if you keep at it, you can learn as much as you can learn and reach your top performance. And that's where you would want to be. That's where you should be. It's good to keep your brain engaged anyways, because exercise is good for the body and the brain. Remember, the brain is part of the body. But thinking and using your brain is also good for the rest of your body. It makes you feel better. It makes you healthier. You have a much healthier mental state, and generally much healthier social interaction as well, if you're able to think and reason and use logic. And that comes with reading and writing and even math skills that get involved, and math skills are used in sports if we want to go back there again. So there's lots of reasons to keep thinking and to keep working at improving your academic abilities. You can still play sports, you can still play video games and all those other things, but if you gave as much energy to your learning to read and write and do math and other academic skills as you do to video games or perhaps a particular sport, that you spend hours and hours and hours redoing the drills over and over and over and over and over, week after week, month after month, year after year, you'd be an algebra expert if you spent the same amount of time. Or you'd have your multiplication tables down like that. So keep it up. If you need help, look for a coach. I'd love to help you. I have online classes and in-person classes if you're local to the Guelph, Ontario area. Otherwise, you can make a comment, subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can do all of those things. If you're seeing it somewhere else, you can check out the website. I'll put a link below. Check out the blog. There's some more information there. And check out the other videos as well. It's Ron from L.T.L. Tutoring Central. I'm wishing you a very good Friday. Have an excellent week, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye for now.